It's 1951 and John Richardson, a young art historian, has gone to France to seek out the greatest living painter in the world.
I used to watch Picasso. If there were sort of 8 or so of you having lunch or dinner in the studio, you'd watch Picasso sort of getting each person, getting their energy, and these great big eyes would just study one person after the other, and you could sort of feel him, like a vampire, absorbing their energy. And then after the dinner, he would go off into the studio and work all night on other people's energy.
John Richardson became a friend of Picasso's, and for the next decade he was a regular visitor to his home and studio. The Spanish artist was then in his 70s and a huge celebrity who attracted visitors from across the globe.
Picasso knew exactly where he stood in the eyes of the world, to the extent that he was an icon of anti-communism at that time and widely seen as the world's greatest painter. But he never played the great man, the great genius. He didn't need to. He was so impressive and funny. He had a clownish side, especially when he was in a room with a lot of people who didn't speak his languages, French or Spanish. In order to converse with them in a way, he would do clownish things. He'd put on a funny hat, or he would play the fool, or sometimes he would go so far as to mimic English or Russian, which he was extremely good at doing. And people felt, oh my God, he can talk English. But he was just going, he was making that sort of thing.
While his public image was that of a man who enjoyed partying and the high life, Picasso was working intensely at the time. Having pioneered Cubism in the early years of the century, he was still producing innovative paintings, sculptures, prints and engravings.
He was changing the whole shape of art, in those years. He did stop working occasionally. He would empty himself, and then there would be a month or so when he would go to the beach or take it easy and so on. But by and large, he was working full speed ahead. He always said that his work was a bit of a mystery to him. He said, I really cannot see, how did I come to do this?
In the mid-50s, the film The Mystery of Picasso was made, in which he painted on transparent canvas over the camera lens. John Richardson remembers that even Picasso hoped it would explain how he worked.
I looked at it with him and he said, look, I thought that I'd be able to understand how I came to arrive at a specific composition, but it's ridiculous, crazy. Look, I start there, I go on there, then I fiddle away a bit there, then this comes in, then I change the whole thing. He said, I have no idea how I do it.
When not working, Picasso indulged his passion for bullfighting. He took his friends to all the major fights in the Roman arenas in Arles and Nîmes. But as John Richardson recalls, Picasso was not impressed by an encounter with another famous bullfighting enthusiast, the writer Ernest Hemingway.
He was emotionally tremendously tightly involved, and when the bullfight started, he would go into he'd become completely concentrated on the thing, and it was very unwise to say anything to him. It was a very, very intense experience for him. But I remember one occasion when Hemingway was covering for Life magazine the mano a mano series of bullfights that Luis Miguel Dominguin, great friend of Picasso's, was doing with his brother-in-law, Ordóñez. And we were all sitting in a row together in the front row. They make this great parade across the arena, and the band strikes up. And Hemingway, who was down below the barrier, and we could look down and see him, and the moment they start playing the Marseillaise, nobody pays much attention to it except Hemingway, who stands rigidly to attention, and he holds his hand up and salutes. Picasso gave me a huge nudge and said, look. Nobody had any time for this. And in a way, Hemingway made it much worse by the hand shaking a bit and coming down and then thrust into his pocket. Picasso hooted with laughter.
Cooper was about to get his car repainted when Picasso saw it.
Picasso came out and said, bring me my pastels. He did the most beautiful pastel drawings on the outside of the car. There was a group of girls dancing, There were some flowers flying around all over the car, and in these colours. It was absolutely gorgeous, these things. And then he said, come on, we're going to have dinner. We're late for lunch. We're going off to Saint-Tropez for lunch. And Douglas said, well, look, before we go, could you let me have some fixative so that I can spray the pastels? No, none of that nonsense. And we drove very fast, and of course, as we went along, everything blew off and blurred, and that was the end of the pastels.
And John Richardson says Picasso had a mischievous side.
It was in the summer, and my sleeves were rolled up, and he saw that I'd had a tattoo done on my arm. And he said, how dare you have a tattoo done? If you want any more tattoos, for God's sake, come to me. He said, I know how to do it. He said, I do it just the way they do in jail, with a needle and a bottle of ink, and it's a little bit painful. And he said, at the time of Cubism, I was going to do Braque's back. I wanted to do a huge Cubist still life with a guitar in it on Braque's back, and we planned it all. I think I even did some drawings, he said, of it. But you should come to me. I mean, it'll take a bit of time, and it'll be quite painful, but you'll be able to sell your skin at Christie's.
Were you tempted?
No.
John Richardson left France in 1960 and rarely saw Picasso after that. He devoted his life to writing Picasso's biography and curating exhibitions of his work. Although it's nearly 40 years since Picasso's death, John Richardson says he's still making discoveries about his friend and his work.
For me, Picasso's not dead. I mean, his work is so full of life. I keep on finding new things, and the work seems to sort of open up to me, even more than it did in his lifetime. I'm still so close to him and so enamored of the work and the intricacy of it and the outrageous tricks he does and sources he does, and triumphantly successful. I don't know, I think that if you really get to know someone, you have a huge advantage over the scholar who never meets them and works in a museum or a library. I'm so glad that I'm still alive to make these discoveries.